Timber Hill Cemetery here, and the reason why I came to this particular cemetery was to visit the graves of the Barkers. Of course, the Barkers, one of the well-known and infamous gangs that paraded around Depression era United States in the Midwest in the early 1930s. And what made them even more famous was that Hollywood kind of made it out that Ma Barker, who was the mother of the Barker boys, they made it out like that she was the leader of this marauding gang of thieves. But in actuality, the gang was led by Fred Barker. He had joined with another man named Alvin Karpis. So it was really the Barker Karpis gang. But of course, Hollywood needs to sell a movie, so they're going to make it out like Ma Barker was the leader of these guys. Now, I mean, she condoned their activities for sure. So even though she wasn't the leader, you can kind of say that she might have been the brains of the operation, and she definitely condoned her son's vicious criminality. That story, I don't know when that's coming out, because that is there's a lot of different locations. So, but their graves are over along that fence line over there. But today, I'm going to show you the graves of the McCord and Vale families. Very sad story here. Very, very tragic indeed. So we're going to walk around right here, and I'm going to talk quickly about what happened to these individuals. Now, to my right is Rovenia and John Robert McCord. They're buried together along with Mary May Vale. Of course, Rovenia and John Robert, who was called JR for short, they're buried together. Mary was JR's fiance. They all died June 14th, 1953. JR was known back in the days as a hot rodder, someone who likes to race cars. And next to them, opposite side, is their mother and father, John and Leah McCord. John McCord Sr., he was also a hot rodder. And, they love to race up and down the highways here around Welch, around Chautauqua, which is the town where they're originally from. So they was, race around Miami, Welch, Chautauqua, and, JR loved racing cars, as did his dad. And John would often say, there is not a car within a 100-mile radius that could beat me or my son. And if they do beat us, well, I'll just buy a faster car. John, he did quite well for himself. He owned a very big farm. So not that they were rich, but, they were well off, more so than a lot of other people. So on June 14th, 1953, John was with his fiance and his sister, and they were possibly racing up the highways right here, and they slammed right into a semi-truck trailer. John and his sister were killed instantly. Mary made it to the hospital, where she died 2 days later of her injuries. Now, going back to John and Leah, basically from what the locals say, these two absolutely just went insane. They could not get over the fact that their kids were gone. And it literally tore this family apart. And sick with grief and just a bad brain and thinking very dark and just terrible things. On February 16th, 1954, early in the morning, John here shot his wife, Leah, shot himself, and set the family barn on fire. And he did leave a note with explicit wishes that the money from his estate be used to buy flowers for their graves for the rest of time or what have you. Now, I don't see any flowers here. That was, almost 70 years ago. And next to Mary, I believe this would be her brother. And Bobby Jean Vale, July 8th, 1940 to February 5th, 1961. He, at the time, he was a farmer. He lived in Clear Creek Ranch right next to Welch. His grandparents, that's who he lived with. They were doing work very early, around 6:30 a.m., February 5th, 1961. And the granddad was, say over there, just doing something, and he just hears like a loud boom. And he turns and he sees his grandson, on fire with this huge, massive fireball. And immediately Bobby starts running pond, and he jumps right into the pond. His grandfather comes to get him out of the pond, and he was just covered from head to toe in burns. They rushed Bobby Jean to the hospital, and he died that afternoon. He had third-degree burns over his entire body. And there was absolutely nothing they could do to save his life. Six tragic deaths, all revolved around cars. So odd. And I see so many graves of kids from the 50s, the 60s, dying of car accidents. Kids, they think they're invincible. They think that they got the fastest car. They think that, they can't be hurt. And, we are all mortal. At the end of the day, we are all mortal. And if you look around the cemetery, here's another McCord grave. I'm gonna guess this might possibly be their grandparents, and then there's more McCords all over here, and then there's a couple Vales over there, and then next to Jean would be I'm guessing this could possibly be his grandparents. They would have been quite young when they had him. I don't know what happened to his parents, but not quite sure. Okay, rest in peace to all. It's just a sad story of a family being, broken apart by death. Okay, guys. I'm Lamont. I'm out of here. I will catch up with you on the next video. Peace out.